Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm ready to get into this top 10 because you might be surprised at the order of which some of my games are in. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Okay, then I'm definitely interested to see that. Mine's, I feel like you could probably guess my top 3, but my 4 through 10, there's me personally, I think there's like maybe one curveball that you might not expect. Well, if you know the games I like, you'd expect it, but if you just look at a general top 10 list, you probably wouldn't expect it. But yeah, to the top 10, we'll start off with some honorable mentions. Mine's, I'll just go through mine really quickly because some of these are games I've already played and other are just games that like I just want to touch on briefly. First one, of course I had to put this on here, Persona 5 Royal. Reason it's not in my top 10 is because Persona 5 technically came out in 2017 in the States, and this is just the new game plus the extra edition. So you already know how I feel about Persona 5. It's arguably one of my, if not my favorite game of all time. Go play Persona 5 Royal if you love 200-hour JRPGs. My next one is what you said, Hades. I actually bought this game when it came out in early access 2 years ago in 2018. And the amount of stuff they added from then up until, when did it go 1.0? Like in August or September, I think. This is definitely one of those games that you have to slow burn. And when I say slow burn, I mean it's something that you're just gonna play over the course of the year. Like you can't, there is like an actual story, but you have to do multiple runs, beat the game multiple times to get like the true ending or all the content. But the fact that the gameplay is just so engaging, there's different builds you can do, you get different weapons, abilities, and stuff you can unlock to basically alter your runs. Just makes this game just, something you can put a couple of hours in each day, or if you want to do a couple of long sessions of, but you'll always come back to this game. Next one is one that you said, Immortals Phoenix Rising. This almost made my top 10, but the fact that it came out like December 4th, right before Cyberpunk, and also around the time that all the November games came out, I just didn't have enough time to put into it. But I will say, if you like Breath of the Wild, if you like Assassin's Creed, and when I say Assassin's Creed, the new ones like Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla, bits of that sprinkled into this game is for you. I honestly feel like this game is more charming than Valhalla just because it doesn't take itself so seriously and it's very light and bright. My main issues with the game is, of course, the look of it. It definitely has that Fortnite filter on it. The facial animations could have been a lot better. And then also the dialogue is kind of weird where like you'll be talking to somebody and then your character will just like sit there and make a face and then they'll say something. And it's a little jarring, but you get used to it after a while. But I think that may also be some of the humor that they're going for. But definitely, if you want to catch it on sale, or if you're a fan of, what is this, Greek mythology or Norse? I always get those two mixed up. This is Greek, right? With like Zeus.
Yeah, Greek.
Okay. Greek mythology. This is definitely a good game to play and spend. And also, from what I've heard, it's not as long as like Assassin's Creed games. It's like you can get through the main story and most of the side stuff in like 30 to 40 hours. So it's not something you need to spend like 100 hours to see everything. Next one, which I'm probably my most disappointed game of the year, is Watch Dogs Legion. Y'all know I am a huge Watch Dogs fan. 2 is my favorite one of my favorite games. And with 3, I see what they were trying to do, but they basically sacrificed the story and any sort of cohesion that you had. Basically what happens is you can recruit anybody in the game, which is a cool thought. But then once you sit down and think about it, it's just like, all right, 95% of the people you recruit have horrible stats that you, like, once you find people that you use, like, you're not going to use. Like, once I finally sat down, I was like, all right, I got my team, I'm going to beat the game. I only use maybe 3 to 4 people, mainly a construction worker, because they get the little drone that's way easier to move around town than driving or fast traveling. But overall, I mean, it was cool, but it made me realize how much a main character and story really matters to a game, because you would see cutscenes of the character that you have with other cutscenes of other characters, and you're just like, this is really awkward and weird. And they kind of say the same lines, especially when you do recruit missions. That got old after a while. The main story was cool. In all honesty, what I wish they would have just gave you a main character, and then let's say your character has to go recruit people, and then you can like take traits from them to put on your character. Like give you those 4 slots, and you'd be like, all right, you get pistol, extra melee damage, extra explosion damage, all that stuff, instead of just having to like swap back and forth. But it was a neat idea. I feel like it was more of like a tech demo of that technology as more than a Watch Dogs game. I don't know if they're going to do another one after this, because I don't know how well this did, or if even there's anything worth doing after this. But like I said, it's a fun game for what it is, but still disappointing. Pretty much. Story just sucks. My next one, and this is something new I'm doing, because usually I don't have multiplayer games on my list, but I actually really fell in love with this one. Rogue Company. Basically mix Counter-Strike with a little bit of Overwatch. You get different characters, they get different abilities, guns, attachments. You got 4v4 deathmatch. You have the bomb mode, which you set the bomb, take off the bomb. It's a pretty fun game. It's free to play. It's on basically everything. It's just a really fun game to play. I will advise, kind of like with any multiplayer game, you need to play with friends, because sometimes playing with randoms can be a bit frustrating. But overall, one of the more enjoyable new multiplayer games that I've played over the past couple of years. Next one is going to be Gears Tactics. As I said, I got into isometric RPGs this past year. This came, of course, to Game Pass. And it's a solid game. My only thing is, I don't think I'm a huge enough Gears fan to really like care that much about it. But as far as like, recruiting people, doing certain weapons, the story, which I forget when this takes place. I want to say this takes place after the initial invasion, so maybe somewhere right before Gears 1. If I remember correctly, like the initial, what's it called? D-Day?
Yeah, D-Day.
Yeah, I think it takes place somewhere around there. But I know it takes place like before the current Gears games that are out. And yeah, so there's that. But Gears Tactics, if you like isometric RPGs, again, it's on Game Pass, and I think they just released it on console a few months ago as well. So that's a good one. Another one, which I'm actually super happy they released this, and I do plan to play through, Persona 4 Golden finally came to Steam, so you can actually play it on something that's not a PS3 or a PSP. Amazing game. I can definitely, this is the only other Persona game I've played besides 5, so I can definitely see where a lot of the style, gameplay, story stuff came from in 5. It was kind of birthed in this game, and since it being Golden, kind of the more like Royal, the more content heavy version. Amazing game, amazing music. Just go play it if you like JRPGs. The next one, which I actually had a lot of fun with this game, Ninjala, which came out on the Switch, free-to-play game. Okay. Basically think Naruto Ultimate Storm, but with Splatoon characters. Or Splatoon-like characters. But that style of gameplay. Pretty fun, pretty easy. It's not, too difficult to get into, but there are combos and stuff that you can learn. You can unlock different costumes, different weapons, and play the game. There's a free-for-all mode. There's a team battle mode. It's a good game. I don't know how much of a backing it's gonna have and maintain. But overall, it's a fun game. It's free. I would say try it out at least once if you like those type of I guess Naruto Ninja Storm game and things like that. But that's kind of the closest thing it reminds me of. The next one, I actually really, really enjoyed this game, and I was really sad this game did not take off like it should have, or the company wanted to. Another multiplayer game. This is Rocket Arena. This game came out, and I thought it was going to at least get a little bit of a following because they had a Twitch Rivals the day it came out. So they got a bunch of big streamers and YouTubers to play it, and you know, cash money prizes. Like, I think they had a $100,000 tournament for it. And it's a fun game. The closest thing I can kind of compare it to, think of like Smash Brothers, but with rockets. So instead of trying to like kill your opponent, you basically build up their damage meter and you knock them off the map. You got your team deathmatch, capture the flag, different types of modes. It's like a little coin mode where you got to get coins on the map. Each and every different character plays differently. So you have your tanky characters, your speed characters. Again, this one also feel like suffers from the Fortnite skin where it's very cartoony. The look of it, I would imagine, turned a lot of people away. But the core mechanics of the game I've really enjoyed, and I don't know if it's going to have any sort of staying power, but I really did enjoy it. It's on Game Pass and EA Play, so if you have that service, you can try it out for free, but it's a very fun game. Next to last one, Battletoads. New Battletoads came out. This game, how can I put this? There's a game on my top 10s list that I feel like this game is better at in certain aspects. But the one thing that really held back this game is the fact that it came out right around the time the pandemic happened, and it did not have online multiplayer for some odd reason.
Thank you. My bad. It's on my honorable mention list too. It's just like, I understand the throwback feel of, you know what I'm saying, couch co-op. But this is the one time that y'all should have had an online mode, especially considering it's on Game Pass, bro. Exactly. Everybody, for the most part, they got an Xbox, got Game Pass. So it's, even if you're playing with a random, at least have some type of online co-op.
Exactly. I was shocked and flabbergasted when I found out that you couldn't do that. And I was like, wait, what? Okay. So I played through the game, and I actually like the game. It's I guess if you have the Battletoads universe, it takes place after whatever the last game is. Yeah. There's an actual story. The combat is fun. You can do combos, you know, things like that. But overall, it's a great game. Just the fact that it didn't have online co-op in a beat 'em up game just doesn't make sense.
And it's still hard as hell.
That is true. It's still super hard. Last game is gonna be Star Renegades. This is another game that came to Game Pass. Most of these games I play through Game Pass, but you know, that's what it's for.
Exactly.
This game, I really like this game. So it's kind of a roguelike, but it's also a turn-based RPG. The premise of the story is that there's this alien race coming to invade. You play this character who has this machine sent back in time right before it so that you can help prevent it. And the kind of cool thing about this is like every time that you die, like the machine that's sent back gets sent back to another version of you. So when you restart your run, you'll be like, hey, this is what happened on this previous run. My only issue with it, and maybe it's just me because I have horrible eyesight, the graphics are very like 8-bit, 16-bit.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, I don't know if it's just me, but it hurts my eyes playing this for a long period of time. And I thought, like, you know, oh, maybe I just had the wrong filter on or the wrong graphic setting, but no, I played it on both PC and Xbox, and like after about an hour, my eyes just started straining, and I was just like, yeah, maybe I'll come back to this later. But it's a super fun game. They have different things, like, you know, you have cut that penetrates armor, you have burn that does certain things, you know, different kind of like rock, paper, scissors type things where you play against different enemies. But it's a super fun game. I do plan to play more of it and get more into it, but those are my honorable mentions. What do you have on yours, Dom?
So you already mentioned Battletoads, so, you know, I don't have to repeat, you know, Battletoads, but Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 Remaster. I mean, 2 is my favorite Tony Hawk Pro Skater game of all time. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I will say this, the one thing I was worried about was the soundtracks, and for the most part, the soundtracks are still on par. You know what I'm saying? Some of the same songs are still there. I get it, licensing and copyright, you know, licensing issues and stuff like that. But I just had so much fun playing this game, man. I mean, it was like only $30, which made it even better because honestly, I'm not sure I would have paid like $65 for like a remaster of the first 2 Tony Hawk games. And it was a good change of pace considering how horrible that Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 was. So,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. So that's one of my honorable mentions. My next one will be Black Mesa, which was basically a reimagining of Half-Life 1. So basically think about a remastered version of Half-Life 1 that was done so well that the actual company Valve played this game before they made Half-Life Alyx, bro. That's how good the game was. Like, they played it, and then they took some of the stuff from Black Mesa and implemented it to the Half-Life Alyx game. So that should let you know, it was done by like a small team, a small development team. So, it wasn't just like a real big game, but it was fantastic. And so, if anything, I say you should like probably check that out too. Black Mesa was definitely.
I'm trying to see if I have it because I bought like the year before. I bought like, did it come out this year?
Yeah, it came out this year.
Okay, never mind. I know I bought like a big Half-Life 1 and 2 bundle like 2 years ago that had like some DLC and other stuff. But okay, yeah, I'll definitely check that out.
Next, Xenoblade Definitive Edition. Look, I am a big fan of the Xenoblade games, man, and this was really the definition of what a definitive edition is. Like Xenoblade Chronicles, for the most part, especially like recently, I've been kind of like real Nintendo heavy, and it was just so fantastic just to play it. They cleaned up the gameplay, the combat was great, and to be honest with you, Xenoblade always have had like fantastic stories in my opinion. So Xenoblade, as you can see, a couple of remasters and definitive editions is on my honorable mentions list, except this next game, which is UFC 4. Now, the reason why I have this on my list is because, I am a big fan of the UFC games, and I was wondering when they was actually going to make another one, especially considering how many people is not with the UFC anymore. Or just like when you think about when UFC 3 came out, like think about like the people that was on top then compared to like now. Like Khabib back then is he's not as good as he is now. Like, he's always been great, but if you think about Khabib, like now, retiring 29-0, so when UFC 3 came out, stat-wise, it's not, it's not gonna be the same. And I will also give EA props, which I'm not gonna do a lot, considering that Madden 21 on next gen was basically the same game as it is on current gen. I like the way that they did the controls. They kind of implemented the Fight Night controls into the striking this time. So I thought that was like really well done. As far as like the grappling goes, they had like 3 different grappling modes, the regular one, the new version, which is kind of like a hybrid of the left and right analog stick. Or they got a simplified version to where, look, click the right analog stick, hold it in direction, and then, hope for the best. But shout out to UFC 4. It was fantastically done. You know what I'm saying? I actually enjoyed the career mode, but it was one of them games that came out around when a bunch of other stuff was coming out, so I couldn't really just dive into it like I wanted to. Up next, it's an honorable mention, but I was slightly disappointed in it a little bit, was Resident Evil 3.
I forgot that came out.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like,
wow.
And the reason why I was disappointed, like the Resident Evil 2 remaster was fantastic. My bad. The remake of Resident Evil 2 was fantastic. Now that's the definition of a remake. So, considering how fantastic Mr. X was, you would assume that Nemesis was just gonna be even better. And granted, he was, but considering the fact that they took the multiplayer out, they completely took out the clock tower, boss fight. And the game just felt short. Like, honestly, this was not a full price game. Like, you know how, like, even though Spider-Man Miles Morales is technically like a DLC, to be honest with you, but it's full price, I would be more comfortable spending $65 on Miles Morales than I would Resident Evil 3, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I totally get you.
Like, you can get Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 in a bundle or something like that, and they should have like really just sold it like that. But I did have fun, you know what I'm saying? It was classic Resident Evil, and shout out to Resident Evil 8. I cannot wait to play that, especially considering that Christian's supposed to be the quote-unquote bad guy in that one. So, taking a page out of your book, I do have a multiplayer game on my honorable mention list, and it's Fall Guys. I had so much fun. I had so much fun playing this game, bro. And, it's basically like, kind of like Battle Royale mixed with Mario Party, like, you know what I'm saying? And once me and my homeboys like actually just started sitting down and playing this game, one, you realize that your friends are a-holes. Because look, it's every man for himself for the most part. You know, you start off with 100, and then depending on the different mini games that they had on there, they kept you on your toes. Like some of them was simple, some of them you gotta be like, come on, fam. But yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on it because like the way I'm talking about, I could like just put it in my top 10. But Fall Guys is another one. The Marvel's Avenger game. Everything that you said about Watch Dogs Legion, you can kind of implement to this Marvel Avengers game. And the reason why it's an honorable mention because look, I did enjoy it. I did like the story mode. I still don't like Kamala Khan, but the story mode overall, though, it was done well. However, that game got repetitive so fast, bruh. And the fact that I have to like level up each individual character to 150 just to even like feel like I'm getting the most out of the game, that's an issue. You know, they just recently released the Kate Bishop DLC, which is fine. It was good, but guess what? You kind of still like in the same environment, you know. Like I'm hoping because they are supposed to have the next gen version released. Like, look, bugs and all that. All games got bugs. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not even just gonna hold that against them. It's just the fact that the game was just so repetitive. Like it's an Avengers game, bro. You have so much material to work with. And look, Taskmaster is one of my favorite comic book villains, but I got tired of fighting him in Abomination. Like those are literally the only two villains that they had on there for them. I mean, MODOK was the big bad, but like outside of the campaign, like, you know, it was basically Taskmaster and Abomination. So yeah, Marvel's Avengers, Square Enix, Crystal Dynamic, get your ish together. You know what I'm saying? Like that's really all that I need y'all to do. Just get us together so we can actually have a good Avengers game. And add the ability to switch characters on the fly, bro.
Oh, you can't switch characters on the fly?
No. Whoever you pick to start that mission, that's who you playing with until the mission is over with. It's not a Marvel Ultimate Alliance situation. Like that, yeah. So yeah, Marvel Avengers, that's it. And my last two will be Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remaster, which was very well done. I was kind of surprised, to be honest with you. And the Mafia Definitive Edition. And when I say Definitive Edition, I mean 1.
Okay.
You know, the way they reworked it. Look, granted, the gunplay mechanics was still kind of like whatever, but for them to rework it, you know, bring it kind of modern. Like I was a big fan of Mafia Definitive Edition. So yeah, those are my honorable mentions.